Well, hello. This is the first of what I hope will be many fireside chats over the next months. One of the advances of Rolling Green Village is finally to have the television system working and reliable, and so we're excited about that. We'll do this periodically. It probably won't be every week, but it'll be a periodic thing just to keep you informed with what's going on. I know you receive letters and those kinds of things, but I think hearing something on the television might be a little bit easier sometimes. So first thing I want to talk about is, as you know, there's a survey going out, and the survey is on a number of different things that Rolling Green does. We use this survey for a lot of planning and consideration of what we want to do in the future and making improvements for life for you here. Those need to be turned in by October 8th. You can give them either to the front desk at the Commons or the Village Center, or you can just drop it in the mail. And we're excited about that and excited to see the results. It takes a while for the results to be received, and so we'll probably receive the first draft in December, and then we'll be bringing it to the residents in January or February when we have all the information. So we can look forward to that. Secondly, somebody asked me if we have to listen to the long messages when we call into Rolling Green to one of the various departments. And no, you don't. You just have to push one and that'll take you right to the voice message. So that can save you a little time, and the opportunity to save just a few seconds can be really good. That means you can spend more time with your pet, with your dog. Welcome to Fella. Good dog Fella. He's just so good. One of the things that you may have heard about is that the federal government has mandated certain organizations to get the vaccination. Now, our vaccination rates among our residents are very, very high. They're well over 97%, and so we're excited about that. With staff, not so much. And so we've been encouraging staff and educating staff and using the best materials we have. We haven't finished with that. But we also know that there are some federal mandates coming. And those federal mandates affect us in two ways. The first way that it affects us is we are a healthcare organization with Medicare certification. And so the government says if you have a contract, you're going to be mandating. And they have not given us a date for that. The second thing the government has said is if you have more than 100 employees, you will also mandate. And we have over 250 employees. So either way, we will be expecting our staff to get their vaccinations. Now, having said that, there are some exclusions, and those are for medical or religious reasons. And so we do not have a final date on when that mandate needs to be achieved, but we're watching and we're working with our staff to meet that goal. Now, relating to COVID, Rolling Green, as you know, has been doing really, really well in the resident and staff bodies to protect ourselves against the COVID virus. Today, I'm not aware of any residents that have COVID and any residents who are quarantining, so I'm excited to report that to you. I know, unfortunately, at least one of our staff members is quarantining for the virus, and so we do have an occasional person among staff and even among the resident body that does have COVID, but we're being very protective, and it means that the rates of infection here on campus are extremely low, and we're very proud of that. We're far lower than the greater community, so we can be very thankful for that. Now, with COVID, there have been some unusual things that occur. Not only is the virus affecting people individually in their lives, but it's also affecting the supply chain. The supply chain is the plan that people and organizations make together to receive every supply that you can imagine. And the idea with the supply chain is to minimize how much anybody has to hold in inventory at any one time, because something that you hold on a shelf somewhere isn't generating revenue for a business. And so many things, the supply lines are very smooth. However, with COVID, there have been different areas of our supply chain that have been affected in odd ways. For example, there aren't enough truckers right now to truck things. There are a number of ships sitting outside the Los Angeles harbor waiting to unload, and that's because they can't get people to unload them because they are ill or quarantining. So those kinds of things are having a definite effect on us. You know, a good example is in China, there are fewer people who are going out to eat for the Chinese New Year. What's that got to do with the price of tea in China? Nothing. But it does relate to the amount of shrimp that is being ordered from the shrimpers in Louisiana. So what's happening is there's been a huge run-on and demand of shrimp in Louisiana, which means that it's less available for places like us because they're trying not to overfish, and they're sending the shrimp to China. So just odd things are happening with the supply chain. With that, we will often order things, especially in food, and it will either not come at all, or else something will be substituted that will be sometimes similar and sometimes not related at all. A good example of this is we ordered cups with lids not long ago. They substituted a different cup, and they substituted a different lid. And of course, the lids do not match the cups, and so they don't fit. And so that creates an issue for our to-goes. But it's more of an issue with various items, food items that we order. And so we're actually running to the grocery store about 4 times a week, sometimes 5 times a week, to get some things that just aren't coming in. It's been an extreme challenge for us and for food and beverage to get the food that they need. And so that's why there have been variations and things excluded from menus and difference in prices as well, because when things are less available, the prices go up. And so, as you know, we are having to vary the number of credits for the different food items, and they can vary from day to day, and that's going to continue for a time until the supply chain begins solid again. And we hope that's soon, but we don't know when. But please be aware that the credits required for different things are going to be changing at times from day to day, and we just have to expect that. Also, for those of you purchasing food in the grocery stores, you may have noticed some things are not available, or else some things, the prices are gone through the roof. And so we're addressing that as well. Now we have the added challenge of staffing. As everybody knows, we can't get enough staffing, nor can anybody else. We are addressing it. We do have a plan in place. Frankly, the plans that we have put in place so far have not been very successful. So we are working on some other things that we anticipate will help. But I know that this is going to affect you in certain ways. Number one, we're not able to do all the services to the standard that we normally do. And we're working hard to make sure that we do provide you with the services and the standard. But there may be some lapses on occasion, and it's not anything that any of us likes. And we're trying to address that. The other way it will likely affect you is 55 to 60% of our costs at Rolling Green Village are staffing costs. And so that's of our total budget. 55 to 60% goes directly to the staff. We know that we're going to have some significant wage increases this year in order to gain more staff and keep staff. And so that is likely to be reflected in the resident rates that we charge beginning in January. I don't know what those rates are yet, and I'm not making an announcement because we're not finished with the budget yet. And there are certain things that we're doing to try to minimize the cost and the increases that you may experience. But I do just want to be very straight with you that there will be an increase coming, and it may be greater than we've seen in the past year or two. And I just want you to be aware of it and know a lot of that is going to be going directly to staff. Finally, I'd like to talk about hallway renovations. We got approval for a number of hallway renovations in the buildings A through E. And we won't be able to do them all at once, but the renovations will include carpet, paint, and it will also include a material that we're putting on the sides of the walls that will match the paint, and it reduces the amount of bumps that occur, and bumps and scratches and things that occur in the drywall, so they'll stay in better shape for a longer period. The carpet, the colors will be somewhat similar to what they are in the new building. And the reason for that is that way we have a consistent and congruent look across our campus. When people come into Rolling Green, they look at the hallways and they think, oh, gee, this is an old building. Now, we can't make the hallways any wider, as you can imagine, but we can update the colors and the patterns and those kinds of things to match more with the rest of the campus. And so that will start as soon as we can get the materials. But as I mentioned earlier, the supply chain is broken, and our provider, who is going to be putting in the carpet, is having trouble getting carpet, and he's also short-staffed. Imagine that. And so we're going to be working with them, and you'll be hearing more about this as we get closer and as we know that the materials are arrived and that they're planning to come in. Now, this is at least a two-phase project, so a number of the hallways will be done initially, and of course they do them one at a time, and then we will stop for a little time, and then we hope to finish the project next year in 2022. So it'll be at least a two-phase project, so we want you to be aware of that. Now, as we do these fireside chats, and as Fala suggests things to me that we should talk about, if you have questions or suggestions that you'd like me to address, please let me know. Send me an email or a text or just drop off something at the front desk for me, and I'd be happy to answer whatever I can. It's important to me that we communicate, and I'm so excited that we have this new method that we can use, and let me know what you think of it. And thank you so much for your time, and have a good day.